Hello, everybody. So I thought I would share something interesting, or at least interesting to me. As many of you know, Splash Mountain at Disneyland will be closing for refurbishment and retheming here at the end of the month. I believe the 31st is its final day. Walt Disney World, Splash Mountain has already closed and going through refurbishment and retheming to Tiana's Bayou Adventure, I believe. And it made me think about some other rides that have closed and are no more to make way for the future. And one of them, originally called the Rainbow Caverns Mine Train, and then it became the Mine Train through Nature's Wonderland. I thought we'd talk about it for a minute. Kind of got some interesting things to share. But in 1956, the Rainbow Cavern, actually before I get to that, I'm wearing this hat in honor of the closing of Splash Mountain, for what it's worth, in case you were wondering, and I know you were. Anyway, in 1956, the Rainbow Caverns Mine Train, which was a 2'6" narrow gauge battery-powered train, opened in Frontierland, and it was part of the Living Desert experience, if you will. So guests would board that miniature, if you will, train in a town called Rainbow Ridge, and it would transport them through various sceneries of the desert, environments which included the anthropomorphic cacti, the balancing rocks, and the Rainbow Caverns, which in a moment here I'm going to show you some old footage that sort of captures all of that. And it's kind of interesting because the Rainbow Caverns, to my knowledge, there's actually no actual color, original color anyway, photography or film of the caverns themselves. It's all black and white. So only the folks, if there's any still around that can remember, actually know what it looked like. Now, the Living Desert also included, of course, stagecoaches, pack mules, things of that nature, but the real attraction was the train ride itself. Now, just a few short years later, in 1960, the Rainbow Caverns Mine Train became the Mine Train through Nature's Wonderland, and that was all thanks to Mark Davis. And it just sort of expanded on the ride itself. It was actually quite popular. Now, kind of a fun fact, the narrator of the Mine Train through Nature's Wonderland was a cat named Dallas McKinnon, and he did the narration for the entire ride. But he's also the guy that voices at Big Thunder Mountain. He's the guy that says the wildest ride in the wilderness. And I believe he also says, if any of you fellas wearing hats, you best remove them. Well, it's the same guy, which I think is kind of a nice, homage to the original Mine Train. Now, speaking of Big Thunder Mountain, that's what ultimately replaced the Mine Train. And that was in 1979. And it was to make way for, obviously, the future marches in, and the simplicity of the Mine Train, which you'll see in a moment, wasn't exactly a thrill ride. And Big Thunder Mountain is just that, a thrill ride. Now, some interesting facts. The town of Rainbow Ridge, it still exists at Big Thunder Mountain when the ride concludes. It's the same town, at least in spirit. It's been, I think, rebuilt. Obviously, wood, nothing's forever. It's been rebuilt. So I suppose we can get in the argument of every time you make changes, how long is it original, right? At what point, which is an old philosophical thought, at what point is it no longer original when so much of it has been replaced that it's just new? But that's a subject for a different day. And there was actually, until 2014, one of the locomotives, which I will show you as well here in just a moment, was actually on Tom Sawyer's Island. And I think it was distressed some. I don't recall ever seeing it, and there was several decades that I didn't go, so I would have had to have seen it as a kid, and I doubt that I would have noticed. And before I fell back in love with Disneyland, it was removed and given to the Los Angeles Steamers, and they're going through and restoring it, supposedly. But anyway, take a look what I'm about to show you. It's just kind of a fun history of the mine train ride. And at the end, you'll see the Rainbow Caverns, and it's black and white, but you got to imagine all the color that must have been percolating through that water because it was very, very popular. And again, I'll show you a couple of clips of the old rusty locomotive that was on Tom Sawyer's Island now. I think it's called Pirate Slayer Island until 2014. Anyway, take a look.
Howdy, folks. Welcome to the little mining town of Rainbow Ridge, the gateway to nature's wonderland. As we head for the wilderness, a couple of suggestions. Please stay seated at all times and keep your hands and arms inside the train. The animals get mighty hungry. And no smoking, please, because we don't want to start a forest fire. Now, beyond these hills lies nature's wonderland. You're apt to see a whole lot of wildlife, so keep a real sharp hunter's eye. As we come out of this first tunnel, we'll be entering Beaver Valley. Looks like the beavers are building another dam. Yes, sir, and they're really busy as a beaver. Them little marmots over the tunnel must be a whistling to all you pretty gals. I can't say I believe. If you never gone beneath a waterfall before, then get set, because we're coming up on Big Thunder, the biggest falls in all these here parts. You don't have to worry, though, unless the wind changes. Them other two falls they call the Twin Sisters. I reckon that's because they're always babbling. We're coming into bear country now, folks. And while we're crossing the old trestle, you gotta sit real still. No telling how long she's gonna last. You know, bears are one of the most playful animals there is. Lazy, too. All they want to do is lay around and scratch and fish and swim. That is when You know, nature's wonderland is awful pretty, but sometimes she can be a mighty rugged place to live. Out here in the wilderness, the struggle for survival leaves only the strong and sometimes the lucky. Say, look on that bank across Bear Creek there. Now there's a real struggle for survival. Two stags are battling for them cow elk. Maybe you folks can tell me, though, does getting two women folk mean you're the winner or the loser? Never could figure that out. As we pass through old Natural Arch Bridge, you can see the great living desert down below. You know, the desert's a dry place and full of some pretty mean varmints. You gotta be careful of sidewinders, wild pigs, and even mountain lions. But the desert's got her beauty, too. The yellow streaks are running through them sandstone cliffs are called coconino. The red, we call them supai. Now ahead of us, folks, is a giant saguaro cactus forest. Desert heat sometimes gets to you and makes these here cactus take on strange shapes like animals and sometimes even people. Aha! Look down there on your left. Them wild pigs is caught up with old Mr. Bobcat. He's in kind of a sticky situation. Say, ever hear of the devil's paint pots? Real mystery of the desert. Bubbling pots of mud in all kinds of colors. This is geyser country, too. Oh, there she blows. I'm sure glad you all brought your raincoats, but look out now. We never know when she's gonna go off. That's why we call her Old Unfaithful. Look out now! You folks in them last cars be ready. She's a-threatening again. You know, I hear tell a long time ago dinosaurs roamed this area. Of course, all you find now is cactus, snakes, and coyotes. And sometimes the sun-bleached bones of an ancient animal. There's the voice of the desert, the coyote. Now, folks, we gotta get through Balancing Rock Canyon. Look out, they're starting to tumble. Watch that wildcat lady. Oh, glad he stayed up there. We've known these critters to take on a full-grown deer more than 10 times their size and weight. You know, last trip, a mountain lion showed up right over that tunnel. There's one now, so you better all be real quiet. Now we're going deep into the earth to view the dazzling Rainbow Caverns. You'll see giant stalagmites, stalactites, and colorful falls on every side. Say, if you look real careful, you'll see Geyser Grotto, and even the Witch's Cauldron. I see we're coming back to Rainbow Ridge again. I hope you all enjoyed your trip into nature's wonderland. Please stay in your seats till I get the train stopped, will you? And then just lift up the jump seat in the middle and the door will come right open. Now, to find the exit, folks, just head right for the front of the train. And if you got a mountain lion sitting next to you, don't feed him. Just tell him to hop out and hightail it back to his own stomping ground. Well, thanks for riding along, and come on back again when you're out in these here frontier parts, will you? So long.
Right. Kind of fun and amazing. And in a way, it's a shame that it's gone, but nothing's forever. And I think you're supposed to appreciate those things. I'm sad to see Splash Mountain go. Not my favorite ride. I'm not a big fan of getting soaking wet, though if you rode in the very last seat, marker 6, it wasn't terribly bad. But it makes you appreciate and reminds us all that stuff's not forever, so enjoy it while it lasts. And I'm excited to see what new things will be brought to life. Although the ride itself, I don't think will change dramatically. It's, again, just a retheming. It's still going to be essentially a flume ride, I think it's called, or a log ride. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I just wanted to share kind of an interesting past that's kind of been long forgotten at Disneyland that few remember. I'll have to ask my mother, since it closed in 77 or so. I was old enough that I ever actually go on the mine train as a little boy. I honestly don't remember, but I'll find out. Anyway, in this world, when you can be anything you want, you be kind, you be humble, and you be forgiving. You know what? And have a good day. We'll talk to you later. Bye.